אוקיי, בעזרת השם, הוא פרק א', דיבור המתחיל. ואשוב.
ואשוב.
ואשוב אל כוונתי בחלק הנפש ואומר. Right? So, the fundamental yesod of the Rambam, which is the base, if you will, of emunah that protects and prevents a person from making a mistake and following the ideology of evolution and of, even if it's not evolution, of goyim and and philosophers that found a loophole, if you will, to behave the way they want, just by saying that when they take care of the body, they're nothing better than an animal. So you cannot expect anything better than that, right? And we brought the story of the main philosopher that has influenced, the world until today. Okay, Aris, that we all know. Yes. So, his students once found him pairing himself with a horse, with his horse. So his students couldn't understand. So they asked him after that. They said, "Listen, how can you, such a big philosopher, such a great man, yes, have the desire? How can you be with an animal?" He's like, "Well, while I was doing this, I wasn't Aristotle. I was somebody else. I was an animal. When I think, when I teach, this is who I am." Yeah. The Rambam is coming to reject that ta'ut by explaining and bring that big, how can we say, mashal, that important mashal, that not every species has their own nefesh. Okay. Now we're going to start zooming in into nefesh Adam. Yes. Ve'omar. החלק הזן, what is the zan? What is the vegetative nefesh, or part of the nefesh? ממנו הכוח המושך. This is the power that brings, the food down. והמחזיק, that holds but retains. והמעכל, that digests. והדוחה, that flushes out what is not needed. והמגדל, that makes the person grows. והמוליד, בדומה, and to the reproduction organs. והמבדיל הליחות, separating the liquids inside the body. עד שיפריש מה שצריך להיזון, until, yes, he will keep and retain in the body what is necessary, the nutrients that are necessary. ומה שצריך לדחותו, and will flush what is unnecessary. Yes? That's כוח הזן. והדברים על אלו שבעה כוחות, and if you want to know more about those 7 כוחות of the body, ומה יעשו ואיך יעשו, how they work and how they operate, ובאיזה איברים פעולתם, and on which organs of the body is specific to each כוח, יותר נראית ויותר נגלית, כן, which one, sorry, ובאיזה איברים פעולתם יותר נראית ויותר נגלית, which organ is more specific to each כוח, ומה מהם נמצא תמיד ומה יכלה, which כוח is constant and which one will happen, will rise and be expressed or not. זה כולו ראו במלאכת הרפואה. If you want to go to medical school, This is not a place to start diving into the chokhmah of the Koach Hazan. Yes. However, it is clear that, according to the Rambam, that Koach Hazan, i.e., medicine and biology, yes, is also part of the Kochot HaNefesh Adam. So, lechaora, when you learn biology or when you learn medicine, yes, you are learning the mechanism of the Nefesh Hazan of the person. So it's not just a science. That's Koach Hazan. The second Koach of the 5 Kochot that we discussed is Helek HaMargish, the 5 senses. ממנו הכוחות החמישה המפורסמים אצל ההמון. Yes? These are the 5 senses that everybody knows. Re'ut, the sight. Shema, hearing. Ta'am, to taste. Reach, to smell. Mishush, to touch. והוא נמצא בכל שטח הגוף. Yes? The senses are found all over the body. ואין לו איבר מיוחד. The mishush, yes, the touching doesn't have a specific organ like the first 4. כמו שיש לארבע כוחות. Yes? The sight is the eyes, hearing the ears, smelling the nose, tasting but the shimush, the touching, to touch, the feeling of touching, the sense of touching, this is all over the body. That's the second chelek. It's called chelek hamargish. The third one, chelek hamedameh. Now it's becoming very interesting, and we're diving now into the nefesh. The medameh is the pairing system. Ledamot is to compare. It's also, we will see, there's also dimion. Dimayon is to imagine, based on what? On bringing images together. Yeah, that's dimayon. Okay, חלק המדמה, what is the כוח המדמה? הוא הכוח אשר יזכור רישומי המוחשים אחר העלמם. Number 1, your memory, yes, is stored, the memory bank, right? All the information that you get is stored in the Koach HaMedameh. Meaning, every information your senses collect will be stored in the Koach HaMedameh. Yeah? So when you think about it, the sensors, the 5 senses, which I call sensors, yes, is your window of connection with the world. If you take away the 5 senses, you cannot communicate anything with nobody. If you don't see, you don't hear, you don't taste, you're disconnected. Emet?
Emet.
So those 5 senses are the windows that allow you to see and connect with your surrounding. So every sense picks up information automatically all the time. However, it will all depend on the awareness of the person. Yes. For example, Itzik, if I ask you right now, don't turn around, is the mailbox open or closed?
You want to say what I think it is?
No, do you know? Don't guess. Do you know?
No.
How is that possible? When you opened the door, it was in front of you because you didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
It's probably closed.
It's open.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, it is open. You're right. I actually
Yeah.
took something out even. I didn't even realize.
אתה מבין?
Yeah.
But ודאי you knew that information. So it was stored in your medame, in your memory, but because we don't pay attention to it, yes, we don't have access to it, but it's there and it's stored in your memory. That is the base of the koach hamedame. First, we need to know that the pairing system is the ability to pair information that is stored, and that information is collected by your senses.
Like by the impression made on the senses after.
No, that's level 2, the impression. First is the information itself,
Okay.
the raw information.
Oh,
And he says, how is that? יזכור רישומי המוחשים אחר העלמם, מקרבת החושים אשר השיגום, because of the connection there is between the מדמה and the חושים, the senses that received the information. וירכיב, now, what does the מדמה does? וירכיב קצתם אל קצתם. And now, the מדמה, the pairing system will start breaking down and bringing together pieces of information. ויפריד קצתם מקצתם, and it will separate pieces of information. ולזה ירכיב זה הכוח מן העניינים אשר השיגם, עניינים אשר לא השיגם כלל, ואי אפשר להשיגם. So from information that you have collected through your senses, you'll be able to create, yes, images and situations in your head that you've never experienced and may never exist. And he gives an example. כמו שידמה האדם ספינת ברזל. Can you see now? It's interesting this one, right? He says, can you imagine a boat? Yes,
an iron boat.
an iron boat. רצה באוויר, that flies in the sky. Yeah, today it's called a plane.
Yeah.
According to the Rambam, ואי אפשר להשיגם. Right? At the time of the Rambam, it was אי אפשר. Today is אפשר because of פנים חדשות אז הגיע. But how can you do that? How can you do that? Because you know what a boat looks like, and you know what it's like to fly because you see birds flying. So now you can take your pairing system can take the image of a boat and the image of a flying bird, and now you can imagine a boat that's flying. That's what the pairing system. Or, for example, Adam sherosho b'shamayim ve'raglav ba'aretz. Yes, you can imagine a body standing on the earth and the head in Shamayim. Behema be'elef enayim. Yes, an animal with 1,000 eyes. Why? Because you know what an animal looks like, and you know what an eye looks like. Now you can your pairing system can put 1,000 eyes on an animal. על דרך משל. והרבה מאלו הנמנעות, right? A lot of these things that cannot happen. ירכיבם הכוח המדמה, the power of the pairing system will put it together. וימציאם הדמיון, and now it's brought forward by the sub-koach of the מדמה, which is the dimion. So what is the dimion? The dimion is the product of the medame, which is the engine, right? So the fuel of the engine is the information of the senses. The engine is the medame. The byproduct of the medame is called the dimayon.
And that's the result of the pairing that you just said.
No, the pairing system, what it does, it takes information, break it down, and recreates. That's what it means. And we're going to see when we learn Koach HaMita'orer in a second, yes, how does the pairing system now has an influence on the experience of the information. But right now, all we're talking about is taking information down, breaking it down. For example, yes, can you now imagine the ear of an elephant on a lion?
Yeah.
You can. It's easy. Why? Because you know how an elephant looks like. You know how a lion looks like. You take the ear of the elephant, which you can see, and you can put it on a line that you can see. That's what the pairing system does. It will break down information and pair it again and put it back together. Now, the image that we can see of the lion with an ear of an elephant is called dimion. But how did we get this information? Because of our sight. Our eyes saw an elephant. Our eyes saw a lion, right? So the information is, when was the last time you saw a lion or an elephant? Okay, but yet, because it's in your memory bank, in your koach medame, the medame has access to it right away. It brings it forward, and now it creates the image you want to see, which is called the dimion. Good.
So the dimion is the product of the pairing of two different things to bring that imagination, that image together.
That's right.
Okay. It's the product.
And he says, Ubekan, after we understand that, listen to this. Ubekan ta'u המדברים הטעות המגונה הגדולה. And there, in this nekuda, failed, yes, a lot of philosophers with a terrible mistake. Asher banu alea pinat hatatam. They founded, they built their philosophy on a big mistake. בחלוקת המחויב והאפשר והנמנע. Right? When they approach, right, what is מחויב and what is nimna and what is possible. Meaning they mixed, yes, between what is for sure, what may be, and what's impossible. שהם חשבו, או הביאו בני אדם לחשוב, because they believed and made people also believe, כי כל מדומה אפשר. Everything you imagine can be. ולא ידעו שזה הכוח ירכיב עניינים שמציאותם נמנע, כמו שזכרנו. But in reality, yes, some of the product of the imagination is impossible to be.
The philosophers claim that what if you can
Whatever, yes, what you think, that if you imagine it, that means it can be real.
right. Got it.
The Rambam in Sefer HaMoreh, in חלק ג', פרק נ"א, calls the יצר הרע, calls the כוח הדמיון, והוא היצר הרע באמת. The real Yetzer Hara is the imagination, because the imagination transports you into a reality that's so far from the Mitziut, from what your own reality, that you can completely get lost. And now you behave, right, based on a virtual reality, yes, that is completely different than the reality that you're in.
If I may say it reminds me of some of the things going on today.
Exactly, bevadai. Today, people run to the games, people run to virtual reality to escape their reality. So yes, and that's what today. That's why today you can be a monkey, you can be a lion, you can be a dog, you can be anything you want in this virtual world, and you're accepted because it's a world where the dimion, yes, projects you. And now we're going to see in a second why it's such a big drug and it's so attractive.
You can be a man and you can be a woman.
It can be anything you want.
Exactly what's going on today.
Okay. And that's the fueling of the dimion.
Wow.
Now, I want to learn the next chelek of the nefesh, because that will wrap up what we need to know before we touch the sechel. והחלק המתעורר, then we have the instinct. So we spoke about the Zan biology, okay, medicine. You go to medical school. Then we have Margish, the five senses, which are what? The receptors that catch information, sends the information to the Medame, which stores that information and uses that information to pair, build, dismantle information, rebuild information, and create what is called the Dimion. And now we have the Mitorer, the instinct.
It's number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
הוא הכוח אשר בו ישתוקק. This is the power that a person will desire. ויחשוף האדם לדבר אחד. Yes, and he will be attracted to something, או ימאסהו, or he will be disgusted by it. He will be pulled back from it. Right? So it's an instinct. Yes, or your koach HaMeshicha, it pulls you towards something, or it pushes you away from something. ומזה הכוח, and from that koach of the instinct, יבוא אל פעולות בקשת דבר, והבחירה ממנו. From that instinct comes the desire to want something, to choose it. Yes, if you like chicken and you choose to eat chicken, the Ari Kadosh in Torah HaNefesh writes, you didn't make a bechira. That's not a choice. That's the instinct. Yeah, that desires the chicken over the fish at that moment. Mm-hmm. But that's not a choice. That's not a bechira that's made. Yes, it pulls you towards a bechira, kivyachon. ובחירת דבר אחד או יתרחק ממנו. Yes, so you'll choose something versus something else. והכעס, anger, רצון, the will, פחד, the fear, גבורה, courage, אכזריות, to be cruel, רחמנות, to be merciful, אהבה, love, שנאה, hate, והרבה מאלו המקרים הנפשיים. Right? So basically, comes the Rambam and reveals to us that all the midot, all the traits, yes, all the emotions that we have come from that koach that's called the koach HaMitorer, מתעורר מלשון להתעורר, to awaken, the awaking force, which is essentially the instinct. וכלי זה הכוח, now, the organs related to this koach in the body, כל איברי הגוף. It's found all over the body. ככוח היד, על לקיחת דבר ונגיעתו. The instinct has the power to stretch the hand to take something, the legs, the ears, the eyes. Yes, it can move your eyes so that you can see something that you desire. It can pull your eyes away from something that you fear. Yes, so the instinct has the koach and a level of control on the entire body. כוח הרגל על ההליכה, כוח העין על הראות, כוח הלב להתגבר או לראות בעת הפחד. וכן שאר איברי הגוף הנראים והנסתרים. So it controls, the instinct controls to a certain level, yes, the body, הם בכוחותיהם כולם כלים לזה הכוח המתעורר. So the entire body are kelim, tools for the מתעורר. So now, let's plug in this instinct to the kochot that we have learned until now. So how does that work? And it's so important because now you will, all this is a preparation to understand the akdama in Pirkei Kinyan Hadat that we learned, and we'll connect it. You have senses. Those sensors takes information, stores the information. Yes, that information is then can be used, okay, for something that the dimion can foresee. Correct? Or we said that and these senses and this dimion, yes, is connected implicitly with the koach hamitorer, like we will see later. Because what did we say? We said that all the midot and all the emotions, yes, come from the mitorer, from the instinct. So when you see something you desire, think about it. You walk on the street. You're not hungry. You have no interest to eat nothing. You pass by a pizza store and you smell the pizza.
Right.
Suddenly you become hungry and you want pizza. What just happened? You smell the pizza. The smell of the pizza went to the koach hamedame, the pairing system. The pairing system, right, took out the information that you have about pizza. It's tasty. It feels good. I like it. I feel good after it. Yes. And it awoke the desire to eat the pizza. What people do, they go ahead in there, they buy the pizza. So until now, there is no kochot, kivyachol, yes, of men. It's from the nefesh adam. But until now, it's an animal. Think about it. Yes, an animal sees a prey, goes attack, eats. Yes, a cat also has an instinct. When a cat crosses the street, if it sees the car, it runs. Why? Because the instinct of the cat, the fear of being hurt of the cat, pushes the cat to go away from the car.
Do the animals also, can they also do pairing or no?
But they have the pairing system, in their own species.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, I give you another example that we can all relate to. You walk in the street and you smell perfume. The perfume of your wife, the perfume of your mother, doesn't matter. The perfume of your father. What do you think about?
Them.
You think about them right away. What happened? What happened? You smell the perfume. The information went to your medame. The medame pulls out the information related to that information that was just picked up, that smell, and brings out the information about it. Yes? Now, what happens if you smell the smell of somebody that stole from you, somebody that hurt you, somebody that shamed you? It will awake the emotion
Yeah.
that you experience with that person. Yes. So if it's a person that you love, it's gonna be your simha. But if it's the smell of a person that hurt you, whatever, suddenly you're gonna be angry. This is the cycle, yes, that each and every individual is imprisoned in until he reveals his da'at. This is a cycle that Rav Wolbe spoke about when he brought the introduction of Rabbi Yerucham, that said he's always locked up, right? So because he mastered the understanding of that mechanism, he realized that the only way to break through is not to react, is to hold back. Because when you hold back, now you can have the opportunities to think and infuse that into your behavior versus the instinctive reaction that is led by this mechanism.
To go against our ratzon.
That's going against your ratzon. That's exactly it. That's breaking the chain between the mechanism and the action. That's what, and that's what Chachamim says. הקדים יצר הרע, י"ג שנה הקדימו יצר הרע ליצר הטוב. The יצר הרע is 13 years old than the יצר הטוב. Because when you're young, you behave based on your instinct.
So that neutralizes all of these.
That will neutralize all this. We haven't spoken about that yet. But now we have a different understanding and a much deeper perspective of the mechanism of human behavior, yes, and why people are stuck.
Right.
So it's not because the idea of coffee that comes in that you need to have coffee. It's not because you smell a cigarette that means you need to have a cigarette. It's not because you don't need to react all the time, because if you do, all there is just living through that mechanism, right? That's all it is. So what controls your life at the end if you live like this? Or the information that's around you that triggers an instinct, or your imagination, yes, that pops up an idea that brings out also an instinct. So essentially, you're never yourself until you control that mechanism. At the end, you're only the animalistic version of yourself, but not the Adam that's in you. Because pay attention, until now there's no sechel, there's no doubt. You don't need to think to exist like that. And yet, this is 99% of people's behavior.
Why is Rambam bringing all of this to disprove the philosophers? Is that what this?
Betach.
Marabu Masecha.
No. First of all, no. Pirkei Kinyan Hadat is the Akdama to Pirkei Avot. So he's telling you, if you want to learn how to, and you want to learn about Avot, and you want to implement those lessons, you need to know how the Nefesh works. If you don't know how the Nefesh works, how are you going to apply all these wisdoms? So the foundation is to reject what the philosophers say, that what you can be an animal and you can be a man. Because why is that so important? Because if you don't reject that idea, then there's nothing to learn from Pirkei Avot. Because Pirkei Avot is just theoretical, yes, when it's supposed to be practical.
Right. Right.
So then there's no shayachut to that limud, right? So first let's get away from the wrong ideas, install the proper idea, nefesh achat, nefesh adam, and now let's see how the system works, so that you will know when you learn Pirkei Avot how to apply that chokhmah in yourself, and specifically in which koach are you going to work on? Do I work on my koach hamitorer? Do I need to work on my dimyon? Do I need to work on my sechet? You understand?
Yes.
And now we understand the importance of the senses and how that controls a lot of our behavior. This is why Chachamim are so careful with Shmirat Ha'einayim, are so careful also not to smell this perfume of a lady, or not to hear Lashon Hara, or not to hear negative things. Because all these information triggers things within you that you have no control over. Unless you have that. And if you do have that, by default, you're going to guard those senses to make sure that you don't open yourself to the wrong information. Because once the information is in, it's never out.
Yep. Right.
Never out. You never forget nothing. You might be forgetful, and the information can be far, 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 but I can assure you that the moment a trigger comes about that information, boom, everything comes back.
Right.
You can't get it out?
You cannot get it out.
No, it's there.
You cannot get it out.
Right.
This is why it's so important. It's so important at a young age to protect that canvas, okay, from a stain, because that stain never leaves after. You might not look at it because you paint something over it, yes, but if you scratch about it, you'll find it. It's there. This is why the shmirah is so important.
This is why I apologize to you so many times, Yitzi, for sending you to that engagement party.
Okay. Shabbat shalom.